There's a new candidate in next year's race for mayor of Los Angeles, Austin Beutner, a former investment banker, a philanthropist, also former deputy mayor under Antonio Villaraigosa, former publisher of the Los Angeles Times, and the last job was superintendent of Los Angeles Unified. Thank you very much for joining us.
Conan, thanks for having me.
So the first question is always the easiest one. Why are you running?
Los Angeles is truly a special place, filled with the most diverse, creative, talented people on earth. But unfortunately, our city's adrift.
How much of this relates to what happened on January 7th this year?
I'm not running because of the fires. My family was impacted. My mother-in-law's house burned down. We won't be back in our home for another 6 months. But think of that as a tragic metaphor. I think we've got to understand what happened in leadership. We have to make sure it never happens again. And we've faced crises in Los Angeles before. We've had earthquakes. We've had civil unrest. We've had other fires. We've had mudslides. And that same approach to solving and leading in a crisis has to be taken as we look at homelessness, affordability, and everything else that we're challenged with in the city of Los Angeles. So it's not about, is there a permit for a home in the Palisades? There might not be. But we've got 400 square miles. We have 4 million people who live here, who get up every day, and the city, they can't afford to live here. It's too difficult, and they don't feel safe.
The governor put pen to paper and signed into law Senate Bill 79, which allows for the state to Bigfoot local control when it comes to zoning along transit lines. And it's not just the corridor. It's within a half mile of the transit stop and a quarter mile of the line. So we may be seeing the Manhattanization of streets like Santa Monica Boulevard, Lankershim, Atlantic. Is that a good thing?
We need more housing in Los Angeles, desperately. Okay. The concept of density where it's appropriate in our communities, of course. But how do we get here? Okay. Nothing's being built in Los Angeles. The framework for building in Los Angeles are these things called community plans. There are meant to be 34 of them, each respecting the needs and the voices of each local community in Los Angeles. Only 2 of them have been updated in the last decade. 20 or 23 of them are not been updated in this century. So how do we get to this place, which is what we're doing last year and the year before and the year before that? I don't like the idea of Sacramento bureaucrats or Sacramento elected officials telling us what's right for Los Angeles, but we haven't done our own job.
So the mayor has received high marks, I think, as a result of her approach to the immigration and customs enforcement raids in Los Angeles. She showed up sort of famously at MacArthur Park to go face-to-face with the ICE director there. Could people see you doing that? I mean, what is your...
100%. There's no space for what the Trump administration is doing, attacking our values, attacking our neighbors, our friends, our colleagues. No space for that, 100%. Now, people who violated laws, committed crimes, that's maybe the job of ICE. That's maybe the job of law enforcement. But absolutely, and I concur, we've got to make sure that we stand up to the Trump administration, this attack on our values, our friends and our neighbors, and taking someone off the street solely based on the color of their skin, that's inhuman. It's un-American.
So I know you're a long Democrat, a partisan Democrat. However, this is a city that has elected sort of a Democratic socialist as its controller. It has 3 Democratic socialists on the city council. Rick Caruso spent, he's a Democrat as well, spent $100 million trying to get that job, lost by 7 points. This is a city that does not elect people like you.
Well, let's parse that a little bit, okay? What do you mean by like me? I've spent the last 17 years...
A businessman?
Yeah. I had a successful career in business. Almost died in a mountain biking accident and devoted the last 17 years of my life to making this a better place to live. I provided glasses to 200,000 kids across Los Angeles who parents couldn't afford to get them glasses. We were the relief agency during COVID to feed everybody, myself and thousands of hardworking people in schools. Proposition 28, we put arts and music back in schools because of a proposition that I authored and led. So I've demonstrated for 17 years that I know how to work alongside and respect the voices of our community. And I think that's what Los Angeles wants and needs.
Most people vote for who they voted for the last time. What is it that you believe the electorate's going to be thinking of when they go to the polls on them?
I think they're going to be thinking of this as a city that every day is less affordable, that every day is less safe, that every day is a more difficult place to live. And they're looking for somebody who's going to roll up their sleeves and get to work and solve those problems. And that's my commitment to voters across Los Angeles.
Austin Beutner, new candidate for mayor of Los Angeles. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.